as no one knows what is going to happen with our government. Right now, the lights are burning at the U.S. Capitol. And President Obama, you're looking at the White House. He is back at the White House. He's there with two Senate leader and also the House Speaker. And he left Washington earlier today, but he came back about an hour ago. And now he's got those two gentlemen inside the White House. But the question is, should he have left today? A lot of people are critical. Former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer joins us. Ari, now we're burning the midnight oil at the White House. President left for a couple hours, but any problem with that? Did he lose valuable time to negotiate these two parties?
I don't begrudge his absence for a portion of the day. I begrudge his absence for his presidency. My problem is, where has the president been on the major deficit and debt issue since he assumed office? He appointed a commission to deal with the debt, and then he really ignored the commission's recommendations. He gave a State of the Union in which he didn't really focus on the debt or the deficit in a significant way, and he did the same thing with his budget. That's the bigger problem that I have if the president's priorities are just elsewhere.
Ari, explain to me, where do you think, where this meeting in the White House might have some significance? There are several rooms that seem to have different significance. The president's sitting there with these two men. Any thoughts on how this sort of arm twisting, his attempt to get going, where they are? What's your thought?
Well, I'm glad the president called the meeting. It's the right thing to do. When you get down to the very end days like this, really only the president can demonstrate the leadership, particularly with a Republican House and a Democratic Senate, to bring people together and get it done. Presidents have to put their shoulders to the wheel. You know, when I went back and I looked at it, George H.W. Bush entered into a big budget agreement with a Democratic Congress in 1990. Bill Clinton did it with a Republican Congress in 1997. And George W. Bush did it in 2001 with a big budget agreement focused on tax cuts. It's Barack Obama's turn now. It's his job to get these big agreements done. Here on this particular piece of legislation is the small potatoes. These are the things that begin with B's for billions. The next one are the trillions, and when we have a $1.6 trillion deficit, our nation has no choice. This is how we can have a good future for our children and create jobs. So what's at stake is tremendous. And it's odd that there's such a difference between the two parties where, one, the Republicans say, this is existential, this can take down the Republic, we're going to go in the direction of Europe. And on the side of the president, I wish he would show a similar resolve. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I'm anxious to see if either gentleman, when he walks out of that White House, and it could be a minute from now, 2 minutes from now, it could be a half hour, an hour, we don't know what time we're going to walk out. But I'm interested to see, do you expect Speaker Boehner or Senator Harry Reid to come out and make a statement, or do you think the three of them will decide to keep it quiet for the night?
No, I think they'll come out and make a statement at a time like this when it's getting down to the end wire. You almost have to make a statement. And it's hard to leave the White House except by a couple back doors without making a statement. Is watching. It's good that they're meeting. It's better this meeting is taking place than it's not taking place. I think that the Republicans have a wise plan B, which is going to be to fund the military for the year and continue to press for more and more cuts so the government will not shut down. It shouldn't shut down. No one will gain if it does. But we'll all lose if we don't finally tackle this deficit and the debt.
Well, do you not agree that, whatever side of the dispute you're on, is that the Republicans in the House have sort of checkmated the Senate if they have to go to the floor, if they get a continuing resolution tomorrow that they send over to the House, which does two things. It cuts the budget $12 billion, but for 2 weeks, but also funds the troops until September 30th, so that if the Senate doesn't embrace it, they look like they don't want to pay for the troops who are fighting two wars.
And it keeps the government open. I think it'd be almost impossible for President Obama, in good conscience, to veto legislation like that. How could he? So that's why I say it's a smart plan B. But we don't. This fiscal year that we're talking about began on October 1st, 2010, a month before the midterm elections. That's how old this business is. And this is where the president has just got to broker the deal, which is what presidents do. Forge the agreement, focus on the big picture, bring the parties together. Presidents are uniquely qualified to do that when there's such divisiveness and partisanship. You know, this is the first time in our country's history we've had a Republican House with a Democrat Senate and a Democrat President. That has never happened in America's history before. You need a president to break these impasses.
All right, well, thank you. And, of course, remind the viewers who are watching the White House, that meeting's going on right now, and we're waiting to see if Speaker Boehner and Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid come out of it when it ends with the president. It could be any minute, and, of course, we're watching that.